All right, guys, we got a couple more things to talk about with Nutrition Month, if you will, that just wrapped up at the end of March, but we're going to keep talking about it as we go on. So, a couple short little topics I want to talk about here. One, understanding the thermogenic effect of macronutrients. Mindfulness when eating, it's essential. I probably covered that in the fundamentals of nutrition deal I did at the beginning of the month of March, but I want to reiterate it. The importance of eating slow, right? I don't think I mentioned that, and that is a big deal. I don't do that so good, but it is important, especially when weight loss, weight management is the goal. And then understanding the difference between total carbohydrate and net carbohydrate in its relationship to fiber. All right, so help us with our math there on that topic. So first one I got here is understanding the thermogenic effect of food. So this is one of the bigger reasons outside of building lean mass, lean muscle, which is absolutely vital for our long-term health. But this is numero uno in weight management. Protein. Protein. Every other guru out here in the social media content creator influencer space also says the same thing, and I happen to agree with them on it. Protein, number one, got to hit our protein goals for our ideal body weight, right? But if you didn't know this, it has a thermogenic effect of 20 to 30%. And what that means, ready for it? For every gram of protein, you're getting 4 calories when you do the math. But with a thermogenic effect of 20 to 30%, so let's just go 25%, you are actually getting 3 calories energy intake per gram, right? So this is a mathematical tool to hit a caloric deficit because you're already burning 1 gram through the thermogenic effect. What that is your body's using of energy to break it down into usable resources. So to break protein down into usable amino acids for the body, it's going to kill 1 calorie of itself to pull that off. And that's pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. So protein has the highest thermogenic effect of all 3 of the macronutrients. Carbohydrates, second, but it only has a 5 to 10% thermogenic effect. And that is only if it is a high fibrous food. So your complex carbohydrates, your starches, grains, vegetables has it, and we'll get into it, net carb of 0 essentially. But your starchy, complex carbohydrates are going to have a little bit of a thermogenic effect, but not much. Your simple ones, table sugar, fructose, sucrose, lactose, in their simplest forms are going to have a pretty darn low thermogenic effect. So body is able to take those fuel sources and use them readily. Now you think about that. I need energy for training. How efficient the body can take those sources, those fuel sources, and use them as energy for training, for activity. Remember, carbohydrates are energy for activity. And then you got fat, good old fat. And fat's important, all right? But fat has a thermogenic effect of near 0. The body can just efficiently use fat. It can efficiently use it at low intensities, so sedentary, like yours truly right now, sitting down on my butt. And I don't even know where I was going to go with that. But fat has near 0 thermogenic effect. So when you're sedentary, your body's very efficient at using fat. When you consume it, your body is very efficient at taking that fat and either using it in a sedentary state, or if our calories are in excess, surplus, it's going to take that fat and efficiently store it too. Not so cool, all right? So when you look at the thermogenic effect of foods, that's why protein's number one. It's more satisfying, more satiating. It's going to keep you fuller longer, and you get a thermogenic effect of 20 to 30%. It's like all this winning. Plus, it's helping support and sustain lean muscle mass and rebuilding lean mass. That's cool, all right? So that's thermogenic effect of food. It's important to understand that. Next, being mindful. when we are eating is essential. All right. What I mean by that is simply engaging your brain in what you're putting in your mouth and why it's going in your mouth. Too often, people get sidelined with the random snacking, with the random, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Are you even hungry? I got caught up with this. I've mentioned it before, but I like cashews and peanuts and stuff, and that is a mindless snack that just packs on the fat. I didn't need it. I wasn't even that hungry lots of times. So, hold up. So, being mindful when you're eating, all right? Very important. Engage your brain. I'm taking this food in for what? Am I taking this food in to hit my protein goal? Am I taking this food in to have energy for my workout? Am I taking this food in to round out my macros for today? Do I even know what my macros are? Have I even weighed and measured them? These are things that we should know and spot check throughout the year. I'm not a believer in weighing and measuring every day. I think it's unsustainable. But I do think you do it enough, do it a handful of times, you get a better intuition into how much you should be eating and how much you can eat. And when I say weigh and measure, I mean effing everything. If it goes in your mouth, it gets tracked. If you cook with it, it gets tracked. All that matters. All right? All that matters. So make sure that you're mindful. Make sure you go ahead and get some macros. And any of us coaches can help you with that. It's pretty simple, and we can kick it out for you, and we can go through that. Right? Straightforward. Next, eating slow. Probably one of the most powerful tools when it comes to weight loss and knowing if you're satisfied and full. Giving your stomach and your hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin, to come into play. Right? So when we eat slow and that food goes into our stomach and gives it time, we can get fuller on less food and feel satisfied. All right. So the inverse of that is if you're trying to gain weight, you want to eat fast. So you can cram as much in before your hunger hormones and your stomach's like, oh, what the heck is going on here? So eat slower. Now, going back real quick, if you know the calories that you need and you weigh and measure everything, but you're a fast eater like me, you know how much is on that plate roughly. And if you eat it fast, you just know you're not eating more. So if you eat your meal fast, chill out for a while, have a glass of water, go for a little walk, do a little something before going in seconds and thirds, right? So being aware of how much calories we're intaking, being mindful of how many calories we're intaking, and eat slow, right? So eating slow is going to be a powerful tool for weight management and weight loss. Totally masticating your food, chewing it up so that your saliva and the digestive enzymes in your saliva can start the digestive process as it goes down the old esophagus into the belly. The whole process actually really does matter. So making sure that you're just taking your time, eating nice and slow. All right? Cool. Last thing here, this will be quick. Total carbohydrate versus net carbohydrate. Popular thing in the keto world, for sure. But it is something to understand. It's relevant regardless of what fancy title diet you're following. Total carbohydrate is the total on the label, right? That's the amount of carbohydrates in here. When we refer to net carbohydrate, that is subtracting fiber out. So if you have 4 grams of carbohydrate, 4 grams of fiber in one serving of whatever it is you're eating, that's net carb of 0. Because carbohydrates, the fiber in carbohydrates can't really be used for energy, right? It is technically a carbohydrate, but because it's fiber, it works in the digestive tract and doesn't really get absorbed through into usable energy. So that's where the term net carbohydrate comes from. And that's why, for me, instance, I subtract the fiber in the serving of the food I'm measuring from, right? So me adding supplementary fiber to my smoothie doesn't bring down the carb value of my smoothie. If that makes sense, because that's just fiber, right? But in my blueberries, a serving of those, oatmeal, you subtract the fiber against the carbohydrate intake, that is going to reduce the carb load of that food. So something to be mindful of, something to be aware of in your math. The apps aren't going to calculate that. So be mindful of it when you put it into whatever you want to call it, MyFitnessPal. They are not going to subtract out total net carbs. So that's something that you can be mindful of, knowing your carbohydrate intake. You can also use that as a cheat code for getting a caloric deficit also. So it's like if you are hitting your fiber goals and you're right on your carbohydrate goals, you know that you're giving up some calories there, right? So that's it. That's all I got for us today. Those are a couple points that I wanted to touch on. And all right, you guys, see you in the next one. Love you.